We had a lot of interest in creating bonsai on slabs or rocks, and I just wanted to go through a little bit of the procedure of what we go through in order to create these trees on these slabs. As you can see behind me over here, I have a representation of what we're planning to work on today. What we're going to do is create the wall that you see here and the material used in creating it in order to give us this effect. So what we're prepared to do is to show you what's involved in making this muck wall. I have behind me here a slab. Obviously it's different than the initial one that we showed you, and this is what it looks like. This is what I started to prepare the slab for. And actually what you see here is a mesh, wire mesh over top of the stone. It's not necessary that you have this wire mesh. And the reason why I did this is because my plan is for this rock is to have multiple trees placed on it. And what I will do is to loop my wire for anchoring the trees through that mesh to help attach them to this rock. What I'd like to show you now is what's involved in making bonsai muck. First, there are the ingredients. Now there are really two major ingredients, one minor ingredient that's involved. Spagna moss looks a lot like straw. It's very dry. This particular container, I cut the little strands back into 1-inch pieces. When you buy spagna moss, it looks like this, just like straw or grass. Now I take handfuls of this and I cut this into little 1-inch, 1.5-inch segments. Now the next ingredient that we use is called Michigan peat. Michigan peat is nothing more than decayed, rotten peat moss. You purchase it in bags. It looks like this. It's very coarse, it's very wet, it's generally very heavy. Where do you find it? Generally in any good sized garden center. Now both of these buckets that I showed you hold approximately 1 gallon of material. I mix this material 50-50. I take 1 gallon of each one and I put it together. And that's why I got a bigger bucket here. So what I'm going to do is just mix the two together. I'm going to take half of this one, dump it in the bucket, take half of my sphagnum moss, add it to the bucket, dump the rest of my Michigan peat in, dump the rest of my sphagnum moss into the bucket. Now that I have it in here, here's what I got. I'm simply going to take my hands and mix it together. Now as I mix this, you'll know that the sphagnum moss is very dry. It's going to pull a lot of the moisture out of that Michigan peat. And what I'll need to do is to eventually add some water to the mix. But you don't want to add too much, so I want to caution everybody. I'm just going to mix it until I feel as though it's fairly well blended. Here's what I have. As you can see, I can compress it together. It holds together quite well. But it's still too dry. What I'll need to do is to add some water as well. I want to use this very sparingly at first, so I can get an idea of how the material is behaving after I add the water. So what I want to do is just keep mixing. Keep mixing it up. Here's my consistency. I think I have enough water. And why do I say so? If I squeeze it hard enough, the water will surface in my hands. Alright? Which tells me I have enough, but also it's not too much because the sphagnum moss will absorb a lot more of the moisture. Now that I have my muck made, I'll give you an idea how we use it. I explained to you the rock, and my idea was to plant trees on my rock, but I need to apply a muck wall in order to keep the soil intact. So what I simply do, simply take handfuls of it and work it into place. Pushing down, compressing it into shape, we begin to build a wall. And after the wall is done, we can add soil, we can add plants, we can add anything we like onto our rock. Now if the wall appears to be too high, well, simply take some of the muck away. Now that my muck wall is finished, what I've added were some of the wire supports to hold my trees inside of the display when I'm done. Bringing in one of my trees, I'm going to use the wire, send it up through the root ball. Now I got something to anchor my tree down with, simply tie it off in the back. Now that this tree is supported, I can hardly pull it out. If I was done, I would simply add some bonsai soil, finish tucking my roots in place, and be ready to be watered in.